everybody, Artosis here, casting some CasterMuse Star League Season 4. This is from the round of 16, and it is Group B. This is actually a best-of-3 match, and this is game number 1. It is between Best in the top left and Ssak in the top right. The loser of this is out of the CasterMuse Star League, and the winner gets to go on and fight one more time to see if they can make it into that prestigious round of 8. Now, the map is Shakura's Temple. This map is used a lot in the Korean Pro Leagues right now. It's a pretty cool map. It feels pretty big overall with some really interesting terrain changes that we'll talk about as we get there. Now, talking about the players just briefly, Ssak is, he almost feels like a man out of time in a lot of ways. This guy has a very different playstyle. He's a very technical Terran. He has a lot of build orders that are not the norm, but eventually catch on. He's almost like he can see the future, but not a player that you consider like championship quality. And then his opponent Best, I mean, this is one of the 6 dragons, right? Like, he is one of the greatest Protoss players of all time, no doubt. And definitely a championship quality player, although he doesn't have one, which is kind of the weirdest thing. Like, he made an MSL finals a really long time ago, where he lost to Zerg, if I'm recalling correctly. But honestly, right now, he's probably the best Protoss in the world, but he just hasn't won a championship, which is, it feels bizarre. You know, he's one of those players where you're like, okay, it's got to happen. It's got to happen eventually. Anyways, looking at this match, I definitely would favor Best, but Ssak can put in the upsets because he does play such an alternative strategy type. So he might throw things at Best that Best is not really as used to dealing with, whereas Ssak would be more used to dealing with players that play similarly to Best, considering he's one of the players that Protosses really copy a lot. Anyways, as these probes and SCVs go walking around the map, you can see some of the interesting terrain features where you have this really raised up mid-ground. All the expansions are along the side of the map. It is a 4-player map, as you can see. But yeah, the center itself has all these different switches, right? Where, well, we're not going to call that an expansion. 2020. All right, excellent. I actually never noticed that before. But yeah, it's it makes it kind of interesting for pushes and how they end up working out because of the high ground differences. So Ssak right now just going for a factory expand. He's only got 1 SCV on gas, so it looks pretty standard. But Best did go forward gateway. So here comes that first Zealot. There's no good SimCity here. It looks like he's going to start a depot. Yeah, and that will create a wonderful area for him to micro around. Both sides of this will allow his Marines to run in and out, but the Zealot not to. So he brings a single SCV to fight. You can do it if you have good enough micro, but as you see, he's having to run that away pretty darn quickly. Another Marine pops out. Wow, great micro right here from Ssak. And the probe actually finishes off the SCV during all this. This Zealot being sacrificed, jumping on top of the Marines, and actually gets one of them. Deals some pretty reasonable damage, but as the factory finishes, he's going to go ahead and make a Vulture, so that is going to end this rush. The only thing that could be scary at this point is a Dragoon, but it's not even halfway done, so Ssak going to be completely safe. He has plenty of time to get down here, get a bunker up, and easily go into his expansion, I would say. So the Vulture pops out. This Zealot, of course, being sacrificed. It did end up killing one more Marine as well, but honestly, 3 Marines is plenty. 3 Marines in a bunker function very, very well as defense. Now, the Dragoons being created here from Best. He's going to send 1 across. Because there's a Vulture out, it's a little bit dangerous, really, to run around, because if the Vulture gets into your base, it can deal so much damage. So he actually ran up, saw the Vulture, I think, there, and now has turned around. He's going to try to zone this out from running in. You do not want to risk going across the map with your Dragoon against a Vulture. Just the amount of damage can be astounding. So we have the command center on the way for Ssak, the Nexus on the way for Best. Best has a couple Dragoons out right now, and of course getting his Dragoon range. We have mines coming up here for Ssak, and in fact, look at this. This shows his level. A lot of players won't do something like canceling this bunker, but it shows the level of his play, but also the level of Best's play. Like I mentioned, you generally won't want to run across the map when there's a vulture out, because the vulture might be able to run in and kill a bunch of probes. Ssak realizes that Best realizes this. He's able to cancel his bunker and save that additional 75 minerals because of this. Whereas if he was playing like a much weaker player, the much weaker player might have just sent the Dragoons across, and suddenly the Dragoons are killing Marines. So that's not what you want. Now, Ssak is rallying up his units to put a bit of pressure on. This is just one factory pressure, so you can't imagine it doing too much. But it's pretty solid. He's got 5 Marines of high health. Only one has taken hits there. It looks like he has 2 Dragoon shots left. Another Marine coming in. A siege tank, a second siege tank. Probably vultures now, right? Yeah, one more vulture coming up, and then he has switched back into siege tanks. So he does have the 3 mines. The mines are going to be crucial here for deciding how this goes. Let's take a look at this fight. Ssak coming down for the pressure. 4 Dragoons, though. Can one volley the Marines, very importantly. The Zealot going to tank a ton of damage, targeting the Vulture as quickly as he can. He knows how dangerous that can be. And wow, he got both mines. A huge moment right there, getting both mines. So now Best has only lost like a probe and a Zealot and has killed off a bunch of the Marines, done some damage, killed the Vulture as well. But now siege mode is done. Ssak going to siege, laying some mines down also. This is a really nice pressure from him, but Best is dealing with it as well as you really can. Best has added a couple gateways in his main base. He's making these observers. Unfortunately, this gateway now unpowered. You know, the same wonderful aspect of it being out forward and allowing you to get that early Zealot damage done is now punishing Best. Now, Best runs up the second this tank unsieges. He takes that moment to take one less volley and runs up here, trying to target down some tanks, and he actually kills one, but he's losing lots of goons. This is not actually... Oh, he picked off the second one. I can't believe he got it. That's crazy. If he had not gotten that second siege tank, he might lose this game, but now that he has gotten it, the muscle is gone from the push for the most part. Some more Dragoons are going to pop out, and it's only a single siege tank, a bunch of damaged Marines, and a couple Vultures. So Ssak chooses to back up. I think it's a great choice, but a very clutch pickoff there from Best. Now Best is going up into some Reaver play. Let's take a look over on Sakk's side. Of course, he doesn't have any scouting other than the intel he gets of which units he's fighting and how quickly they're coming out, right? Because as soon as they pop out, they come down into the battle, so you can be like, okay, there's 2 gates in the main, and there's observers. But does that mean Reavers? Is he going to go Reavers? You don't have to, but Best generally does. Protoss players generally do, and he has turtled up with some missile turrets here. So he's got a couple here at the natural. It looks like he'll probably float the engineering bay and the barracks to give some vision over this wall to see things incoming. He also tank hits from Dragoons. He's going up to a 3rd factory, which I really like to see. Academy on the way, and of course he's getting that +1. Let's see if he goes for a command center or into a starport. And actually it is going to be a command center, but a lot of flexibility being shown by Ssak here. Like even just the fact that he added that 3rd factory after losing those early units, realizes he needs a little bit more of an army than you normally see. Well, I guess the better way to say it is he lost a bunch of units, so he needs to replace them more quickly. Before it's more important than getting the command center up a bit quicker. So good production here from Ssak. Let's take a look at Best. He's adding a couple more gates. Of course, his 3rd nexus about halfway done, a little bit ahead of Sakk's here. And he does have that Reaver. Here it comes with a couple Zealots. These 2 Dragoons not going to have a good time trying to attack up that hill. Take quite a bit of damage and back up. The Marines actually getting some damage on that shuttle. A little bit scary there for Best, but we can look in the main base and see that, in fact, there is no anti-air up here. So he's going to be able to fly in easily, drop off this Reaver. Very good first Scarab, getting several SCVs. Another one got in there, a couple more damage. Speed finishes for his shuttle. See how many he gets done. A Vulture falls. Another one also. He's taking a bit of hull damage. Once you get rid of the shields, Reavers do die relatively quickly. Yeah, down it goes. He tried to drop it off there for some more damage. But Ssak punishes. The shuttle, though, will get out. Right? It will get out. Yes. There it goes. All right. So Ssak ends up defending. Looking at the overall worker count, it's approximately even. So I got to say, I like that pretty well for Ssak. He's already got his comm sets up on 2 of his command centers, and they're both approaching how many workers you really want to have. In this matchup in general, it's like maybe 66 would be the maximum amount of workers you're really looking to have. And on 3 bases, definitely around 55 is pretty good. All right, so over here on Best's side, he has that single shuttle from before. We do see another shuttle being made, yeah, and that's very standard nowadays. You see a lot of shuttles being made. Ooh, that scan doesn't quite see the Templar Archives, but I think you can kind of guess that it'll be on the way. And I'm expecting that we're going to see Storm coming up. That's kind of the style right now, but it doesn't necessarily have to be if he starts a Stargate right now. We don't see that, so yeah, it does definitely look like Storm. Right now, Best coming over here with double shuttle. He's got 6 Zealots total in here. Let's put Sakk's vision back on. He's just diving in on top of everything, but this looks like great defense. Of course, Best couldn't see that because of the missile turret and loses a huge amount of units. Both the shuttles, all the Zealots did almost no damage. A bunch of Dragoons died here. The rest took a bit of damage as well. And now Ssak immediately loading up a dropship here to fly across the map with. See if he can get some counter harassment done. Great defense coming out of our Terran players so far. Just now adding factories number 4 and 5. Rebuilding his barracks that's fallen. Some more factories coming up. And of course going up the upgrade tree. He's got 2-1 on the way. Well, at least +2. I guess the 1 never did get started. Maybe a misclick there. We have the dropship still flying through. It hasn't unloaded anything as of yet. Vulture going over here to the 3rd base. I'm not sure. Oh, wow. Well, the cannon does not reach. A Zealot coming up to finish. And, uh-oh, with the probes blocking it, actually, it's not going to be able to get in there. Having to bring Dragoons back, but this is, in fact, a tight wall due to these little doodads. Has to kill his own probe. Wow, he found a very annoying spot. Look at that, 7 kills between the Vultures. Of course, with these Dragoons sitting here, can't do much else with the dropship. But I do like that counter harass. Really well done by Ssak. Vessel as well as EMP on the way. The Psy Storm that I was talking about before coming up. More shuttles being produced. And pretty soon I think we'll see a bit more of a gateway explosion, but Best is getting his 4th base up, wants to get that mining. He's actually behind as far as workers go right now. 68 SCVs is an extremely healthy economy from Ssak. Whereas we look at Best here, sitting on 56, it's like, well, you can max out on that, but probably wants to finish it up a little bit more with his 4 bases. All right, sending a massive amount of probes across the map, building just a few more. He's clearing the center of some of these mines, but Ssak doing a good job of running around and putting the mines in some annoying areas and some areas where he wants some scouting intel. It's been a very interesting game so far, I have to say. The early push from Ssak, I think Best maybe overextending a little bit in his attack into this area earlier on. And Ssak with that nice counter drop play. Just doing a good job of keeping Best in check, which I think is extremely hard in this matchup. It's like another little Vulture raid. It wasn't from this dropship, though. That dropship just staying put. It might sit there for the rest of the game. Who knows? But runs in, gets a few more probes. Keeps Best down kind of low. 50 probes right now. All right, looks like the tank's coming up and trying to push, but the Dragoons taking this fight for a little bit. I mean, if they're only against tanks, and the tanks are in siege mode like this, I guess you can kill a decent amount, but this is not looking super hot for Best. He does not even have his Zealot legs upgrade done yet. There's no way that he can actually engage this army. No way at all. He will get absolutely slaughtered until he has that speed upgrade. And look at the supply differential here as well. You generally don't see a Terran so far ahead in supply, especially against Best, one of the best macro players in the world. All right, so he's got the double forge spinning. He's got +1 already done. +2 is done for Ssak. He has finally got that +1 armor on the way, +3 attack also. Definitely more important than the armor. The dropship is trying to make its way out. Looks like it's going to make it home safely. I don't think the Vultures did too much here. It's like a Zealot helped clean it up. All right, so it's slowed down just a little bit, but I think what we're going to see now is an attack from Ssak, like an all-out attack. He wants to go across the map and maybe even get a kill, and I think it's reasonably doable. This is still a scary army, though. We're going to have 2-1 for best relatively soon, so his upgrades are pretty good, but the speed shuttle with 4 High Templars, if you push too quickly, you'll be really clumped up, and those Psy Storms are going to do a lot of damage. All right, here comes Ssak. Let's zoom out a little bit to get a full view of the battlefield. So we have this group of Zealots in the top left here for best, ready for a flank, but they're alone, so he needs to clear the mines. That's what these groups are doing here. He's trying to get rid of these mines so the rest of the Zealots can be really useful. Ssak actually laying a few mines behind because, again, there are all sorts of ramps all over this map where flanks could occur. Now, Best running around with his army to the least defended side. It looks like he may have found a beautiful area to run through. We don't see any mines down here. There are a couple Marines for scouting. Ssak quickly moving his army over to the side. All right, pushes Best back, but Best is slowing him down. Best is still not maxed out, so any slowing down that he can do of Ssak is very important. And don't forget, now that we're hitting the same supplies, Best is actually going to be up 20 army supply because there's so many more workers for Ssak, so that makes a big difference. That's a difference of 10 more units. All right, Best continuing to make quite a bit. Looks like this siege tank drop, killing off this Nexus while all that maneuvering was occurring. But look, this is a lot of supply down here as well. Okay, all those units are 2 supplies. So that's 16 plus the 20, so it's 36 more active army supply for the next battle here for Best. And I think that could make the difference. I want to see him attack right now. Look at this, the siege tanks moving in front of the mines. This is the time. This is the moment, Best. Looks like he's going to try to clean this up first. Wants to retake that 4th base. Maybe missing a golden opportunity, but Best knows best, I guess. Ssak moving back very defensively. I love this play. I mean, if you just killed this Nexus basically for free, you're in such a prime position there. Now he's going to run in and actually snipe off some of these High Templars. Some storms go down. So no storms left on those ones. Ooh, almost gets it. Best makes an Archon at the last second, though. So some good harassment. Best actually running around the entire map here. Oh, man. Actually forcing the liftoff, and he might actually force a cancel. Yeah, that command center is at 99.9%, but does end up getting canceled. And he will push back some of these units. Ssak sieging up here, so Best's army can't go any further. But it did some reasonable damage here. He's not going to get the command center, but stopping all that mining, hurting the economy a bit. Really, really nice. All right, another Psy Storm drop going out, but the Vultures don't really care about that so much. Help to pick off another High Templar. Some more storms going down. It looks like Ssak is doing this very methodically to clear this army. He wants to clear it as efficiently as possible. And Best does not have a big bank, as we can see up here. So every unit he has right now has a lot of value to him. Look at that, the double defense matrix. Double storm to counter, though. Takes out one of them. The other one's still standing. Best being backed up into the wall here. Doesn't want to fight. He'll just lose all of this for free if he does. He has a lot of energy here. A couple storms ready. Ooh, good pickup. Storm on those Vultures. Taking the fight as best he can. Not much else to say about that, though. That is getting cleared up finally. And Ssak will retake this base. Now, that's Sakk's 3rd base. So even though this looked Ssak dominated for a lot of the game, he hasn't been mining that whole time. That is a huge deal. His bank is basically gone right now. And Best up in army supply. Ssak starting to move across the map. He does have 3-2 upgrades, which is amazing. 3-2 is going to be here relatively soon for Best, but still, even if it was here, not as good as the 3-2 of Terran. High Templars in that shell, ready to whittle everything down. Ssak just maneuvering, trying to utilize some of these parts of the map, this unwalkable terrain, you know, put some of your tanks behind it. You're utilizing this high ground, laying the mines down as well. Going after this base of Best. Best cannot be losing that. Starts to send some zealots up, but this is too well defended. He can't break that right now with that piece of army. Instead, Best deciding to move around the map. Unfortunately for him, Ssak has relayed mines, and the Observer, too slow, is allowing his Dragoons and Zealots to run through the minefield. Huge losses here for Best, especially as Ssak brings back the rest of his army. Now, that being said, a lot of those army units going across the map for Ssak allows Best to come in and break through here, and he did not lose the Nexus. Again, Best just using his army to run around to force Ssak into these positions where Best can squeeze through and hold on a bit longer. All right, the double shuttle coming in. Oh, nice Psy Storms. Again, guys, this is the only base that Ssak has mining right now. This is a big, big deal. Now, he does come in. He picks off one of the shuttles. Some of the High Templars being picked off. He will get out with a couple, so that's going to be very annoying later on. Flies them down with this Goon army. And Best trying to plow out of here once again. It looks like Ssak wanted to try to kill this. And a Zealot High Templar army against no mines. Well, it would do better than this, but a great EMP actually stopped any Psy Storms from occurring. Oh my god! A big mine drag occurs, and now the Zealots pairing beautifully with their 3-2 upgrades just onto these tanks. Of course, with some micro, with reinforcements, he can end up killing all of these, but that was a lot of tanks lost. Now, Ssak definitely still in the lead. Can he finish this, though? With the amount of counter damage that's been going on, it's hard to say, but oh, Best tries to fly in for another storm drop. It doesn't end up working, which means, I mean, he doesn't even have to keep many units over here anymore. He can bring them all up and try to fight, try to chase down this army. This Nexus ends up falling. Best with very small economy left. Look, a few mineral patches over here, only a couple hundred minerals on each patch. Ssak retaking the center of the map quite a bit. Oh my. Where does Best go from here? It looks like he wants to maneuver around the map a bit more. He just doesn't have very much. When you look at this supply difference, like 30 more supply on your opponent, and then you see units like Archons mixed in, those are not good against Terran. I mean, they're better than nothing, but they're going to look like nothing when an EMP hits them. All right, Ssak just kind of mirroring Best's dance around the center here. Ooh, bringing in the Vultures for a little bit of a raid, killing off the High Templars that remain. That means no more splash damage here. Still some more gateway units coming out. Best trying to buy some time to actually remake his entire army. Another Nexus being put down here that died before. No siege tanks or anything over there to stop him right now. This army of Ssak is just his maneuvering back and forth, I gotta say, is very, very nice. He's mining from this base now as well, so as everything kind of stabilizes for him economy-wise, he's going to get this army to fight him. And here we go. Best is going to come in right now. A ton of Zealots leading the charge. Okay, a defense matrix comes down on those front two tanks, so that definitely helps quite a bit. The Zealots evaporate, and with them, Best chances in this game. GG, Ssak wins the first game.